we've got our object, we need to dimension it. Tell it how wide things are. So I'm just going to throw one on. But before that, actually, we still have our ISO plane left on. I'm going to turn that off. So you click that little button down there. And then to dimension, dim, D-I-M, dimension. And then I'm going to go ahead and click. You can see that when you hover over something, it's going to start throwing it on there. Or we can click on the endpoint to this endpoint and we can place it. Okay. One thing that I did incorrect that I like to change, because sometimes you want to mix things up. So I'm going to go ahead and put a new layer and go, and I'm going to do the layer command just so we stay consistent. Layer command, and pull this up, and then I'm going to click the new layer, and then I'm going to type dim. So dim on there, and then we can change the colors so that we can make it stick out a little bit. I'm going to go blue. Blue on black is not the best contrast, but and then yellow is actually the worst for later on. When we go to print, AutoCAD's confusing because right now we have black background, but when we go to print, it's going to have a white background. So our colors needs that we have change a lot. So I'm going to click on this and actually come back to home. I want that in my dim layer so that it's going to show up blue. We'll be fixing that a little bit later. So if we type Dimstyle, this is where we can get into the style of it. And we don't know which one it's under right now because it's under layers. It could be AMI, so let's check first. So if I select this, and I actually have this up open most of the time. I have properties open, and then I'm going to attach it over on the left. Okay, so again, it could float or you can move it around, and I'm going to attach it to the left side. I actually keep this open quite a bit. And if we look around, it says we're in the AM ISO. So if I do a dim, then we're in the Dimstyle AM ISO. Okay, so that's the one I need to edit when I type Dimstyle. So AM ISO, and we're going to modify it. We do not want that text color to be yellow. We want something else. We could go blue or red. I'm going to go with red. I just kind of like things to have contrast so we can see them a little bit. And this is going to look better when we put it on a white background later on when we go to print. So I've got 56 there. Let's go ahead and get my dimension tool again, and then I can click on this edge, and we'll place. I'm not in my dim layer as I'm making this, so I'm going to switch. It's okay for me to make errors because it helps beginners recognize that things that they're not paying attention for. I know these things and I could find the error, but if you didn't, that's where you would land. So I'm just going to keep starting new ones. So I'm going dimension between these two and placing it. And then I'm going to just, which one do we need next? We got the top, and then let's just go top to bottom across this thing. Okay, and then doing a baseline dimensioning on that, and I got those two lines, so we're done there. And then I'm going to go vertically here. Let's get from there to there. Okay. And let's go from there to there. We can get the height here overall. Keep that on the outside. And remember, when we're placing dimensions, we can use two different techniques. I'll do both. So this is called baseline dimensioning. And I probably should move this one down a little bit. So baseline dimensioning where, move this part of it. It's going from the left side. Okay, and then the other one is chain dimensioning where I could put this dimension and then I can do this dimension. Notice when I'm doing these, we can try and line those up so those arrows come together. And if you need to, you can come in and refine those a little bit. Okay. So other dimensions, we got an overall on all three, right? So length, width, and height. And then we've got dimensions for those. We don't have a dimension here from this point to this point right there. So I use my vertical line tool is our rule, not tool, but from this line So do we know where that edge is? Yes. Do we know where this edge is? Yes. This one is the same as the other, so I'm not going to dimension it. Same as the other side, not going to dimension it. So we're good to go. And then we can go vertically here. We got 8 high and then 24, and we got 14, and then 16 and 32 are all on this side, so we're good to go. This thing is fully dimensioned. We did it. Okay. So review a couple tools that we learned this time. The dim, so I can dimension things. It's not going to work on an ISO, by the way. We'd have to do another technique. And then we learned about Dimstyle. We learned about the properties, and that's popped up over here on the left. And I used, once I clicked on a dimension, I looked at the Dimstyle here, and then we can be Dimstyle and make sure that we are adjusting the correct one. And I was on AM ISO, and we can modify it and update it, change some stuff about it. If you need to, the other important thing is if your numbers are huge, crazy big, you might need to mess with that scale there under fit. So there we are. See you on the next episode.